And there we have it. Juve nil, Milan nil. I feel like the whole world would have predicted a draw in this game. I feel like the whole world would have predicted a draw in this game. I feel like Serie A, the big games always ends in a draw. They always end in a draw. But I have a question to Milan fans, and I have a question to Juve fans. Who's the real winner of this draw? And who's the real loser of this draw? Like who's really dropped 2 points and who's really gained 1 point? Do you know what I mean? Juve, draw after draw after draw. Oh my God, Sherlock Holmes, you guessed it right. Another draw. Yes, another draw. What is it, 5? I think it's 5. It's either 5 or 6. I think it's 5. So out of a possible 15 points in all competitions, Tudor has earned 5. That's unacceptable. I'm just putting that out there bright and early. It's unacceptable. Allegri, Milan, they remain unbeaten ever since the game against Cremonese. They earned themselves another clean sheet away from home to Juve. And let's call a spade a spade. If there was one team that could have won it, it's Milan. If there was one team that could have won it, it's Milan. Milan, you could seriously make a case. Milan had 3 opportunities. On another day, they score. And I feel like when you look at the performances, Milan came to the Allianz and they knew, listen, Juve will most likely dominate the ball. We are not one of those teams that likes to dominate the ball. We are one of those teams that likes to sit back in our defensive shape and pounce on a mistake and pounce on a transitional moment. And that's exactly what they done. Pulisic. Like, guys, I feel like this game should be the perfect advertisement as to why you should never ever gamble. Okay? I don't gamble. But you know, if I was a gambling man and I saw Pulisic, the form that he's in, a penalty, brother, I would have put everything. I would have put everything on the line. I would have put my beard. I would have put my hair. I would have put my savings. Bro, I would have put my family savings. I would have done everything. I would have done everything on him scoring. And he missed. He truly missed. Like, it's kind of off topic. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we should respect penalty kick takers. Because when I see people trying to disrespect my GOAT, Ronaldo, and they call him Penaldo, this is why you need to respect penalty kick takers. But listen. Let's get back to the match review. I'm going on a little tantrum. Juve nil, Milan nil. I feel like Milan had the opportunities. They had themselves a penalty kick, which they didn't convert. Rafa Leao came onto the pitch. He had himself an opportunity at the back post, which he should have buried. Then he had himself a semi one-on-one towards the end of the game, which he should have probably, he should have got it at least on target. He should have at least challenged Di Gregorio. Milan will be looking at this game and thinking, we created more than enough to walk out of Turin with 3 points. I can't say the same about Juve. I can't say Tudor and every single one of those players tonight will be leaving the Allianz Stadium and telling themselves, damn it, we should have won. I don't think so. I would genuinely be a disingenuous person if I told you guys that was the case. I don't think Juve done enough to win the game. If anything, I think Juve were fighting demons just to stay into the game at 0-0. Like, Tudor, I'll be real, I don't see it. I don't. Like, I think the sample size is now big enough. Like, first half, don't get me wrong, first half was actually entertaining. Like, I actually liked the first half. I know it sounds crazy because I love cagey affairs. I love cagey affairs that end with goals, not cagey affairs that end 0-0. Okay, first half I was looking at it and I was like, this is a game of chess. This is a game of chess. Cagey affair, tactical, 2 very different systems, a 3-4-3 against a 3-5-2. So if you were to look at the 2 systems, you could like clearly see Milan's advantage, their numerical advantage is in midfield because they go 3-5-2. So they've got 3 in midfield in comparison to Juve's 2. But Juve's advantage is the fact that defensively, they've got 3 centre-halves against Milan's 2 attackers. Juve offensively have got 3 attackers against Milan's 3, whilst Milan have got 2 attackers against Juve's 3. So both teams, when looking at their formations and their setups, they had numerical advantages in their favour and against them. And I was watching the first half and I was like, listen, like, it's KG, but you could see both teams want to sit back. Can you break us down? And I knew, I'll be honest with you guys, when I was watching the game, I was like, I knew this game would come down to either a penalty or like a deflection, a goal from a mistake. And don't get me wrong, that happens in football. You get yourself set pieces. You get penalties, you force the opposition into mistakes. And that's why I still turn around and tell myself, if I had to now answer the question, which I asked every single one of you guys at the beginning of the video, who's dropped 2 points and who's gained a point? To be completely honest, I think Milan have dropped 2, and I think Juve have gained 1. I think Juve have gained 1. Juve, for me, that wasn't a good performance. Like, yeah, in some moments they had the ball, but they done nothing with it. Like, the biggest cry for help, is this. This is the biggest cry for help. We're talking, what, 92nd minute, with just a matter of seconds to go. Juve have got their 2 midfielders, in addition to their 3 centre-backs, all in their own half. And the main reason why Thuram and Locatelli are dropping so deep is because the centre-backs can't progress play. Like, it's just the same thing with Juve, game after game after game. Locatelli is practically a makeshift centre-back. Thuram comes onto the pitch. He's playing what? Thuram, it felt like moments like he was playing like a left-back, yeah? Like, Tudor, for me, in comparison to Allegri, I feel like I'm going about like this match review in a very different way. Like, I keep switching sides. And I just feel like when it comes to this game, you could see Allegri knows how to get the best out of his players. Like, even simple things like just putting Modric and knowing I need to have Rabiot and Fofana alongside of him, mainly because to protect him. Like, Luka Modric is a 40-year-old. And I'll be real, I think Luka Modric was amazing. Today. I know, physically not the most gifted. He is declining. He is 40 years of age. He doesn't really have the pace, the acceleration anymore. He's got it for a 40-year-old, but in comparison to players of today's day and age, he doesn't. That's why you partner him with 2 physical players. Like, I look at it and I'm like, he's trying to make it work. He's trying to get the best out of his players. I look at the game today and I'm like, Kenan Yildiz once again, 2 games in a row, by the way. I don't like, in case you guys have realized it, 2 games in a row now where Kenan is having, he's up there for the least amount of touches in a Juve shirt. Like, surely as a coach, you need to platform your asset. You need to platform your best player. Very similar to how, like, Milan, they look at Pulisic and they're like, listen, you need to be one of the dudes that gets the majority of touches. Luka Modric, you need to be one of the dudes that gets the most amount of touches because you are the dictator. You are the facilitator of play. You are the architect. So we need to get you on the ball as much as possible whilst making sure you're still protected off the ball. I look at Juve. And I'm like, Kenan Yildiz, like, these are the games that Kenan Yildiz steps up in. But when Kenan is hardly getting onto the ball, when Kenan is playing so narrow, like he's playing so inside in congested areas in a team that can't progress the ball. Progress the ball. You see what I mean? Like, when you look at Juve, their biggest problem is progressing the ball centrally. Progressing the ball out wide, it's not that difficult, especially when you play with wing backs and they maintain the width. If you can't progress the ball centrally, why is Kenan playing so centrally? He's not going to get onto the ball. And I'll be real, I was looking at the areas that, like, Kenan gets onto the ball and I'm thinking, brother, you are no threat. 40 yards out from goal, practically as a left back. Like, you are no threat in those areas. Second game in a row where I don't think he plays great, and I don't look at him and say it's your fault. I just think for a dude that's playing like as this Roman number 10, play needs to be focused centrally. Juve, I think Conceição was the best performer. He gets taken off. If you're going to take off Conceição, you need to bring on a like-for-like replacement because Conceição was truly murdering Barzagli. If you're going to take off Conceição, you need to bring on a like-for-like replacement. Somebody that's dynamic, somebody that's going to take the game to Milan's backline. Zegrova is on the pitch. Openda is not that guy. Tudor went with 2 strikers in attack. Like, he went 3-5-2. Why? What? Hermano, why would you go 3-5-2 if Milan's wing back on the left hand side is getting terrorized by Conceição? Maintain it. So, like, that's from Juve's perspective. Milan, I think with Milan, like, they came to the Allianz, they knew what they were going to do, and they knew we would get opportunities. They knew this Juve backline would present them with opportunities. And I'll be honest with you guys, on another day, they win this game 2-3-0, but they didn't. Like, football, it's all about taking your chances. Milan today didn't take their chances. I think everybody will be looking at Pulisic and saying it doesn't get easier. Like, let's be real, it doesn't get easier than 12 yards out, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It truly doesn't. I think the pressure, the stadium, the atmosphere, it really got to him. In my opinion, I don't really think Pulisic's like that good of a penalty kick taker. Like, yeah, he's scored some, but from what I've seen of him, of Dortmund, Chelsea, Milan, I don't think Modric is that. Sorry, I don't think Pulisic is that good of a penalty kick taker. But listen, he's the man in form. Santi Gimenez. Hey, Very similar to what I said about Juve, which is I was surprised when Conceição came off. This might sound crazy. Santi, nose tape Santi. I was actually surprised. I was so surprised when I saw him come off. Santi Gimenez done something on the 30th minute, which I truly couldn't believe. Like, I was watching him and I was like, oh my lord, I am not familiar with this. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? When he picked up the ball and he literally ran past like 3-4 Juve players. You know, if he scored that goal, that would have been like one of the goals of the season. I think he done well, man. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I actually think I think this might be Santi Gimenez's best performance this season, and I was very surprised to see him come off. But fair enough, when you've got a Leao on the bench, when you've got an Nkunku, you have to sacrifice. Like, it ends 0-0. It ends 0-0. But like, I'm just looking at it, and I feel like the best way to like summarize this video is I don't think any Milan fan, 90th minute, was looking at that team's performance and looking at the fact that we've dropped points. Like, well, like, is it really dropped points? Like, my point is, you go into every game to get 3 points. You've only walked out of it with 1 point. I don't think any Milan fan, based on that performance, is looking at Allegri and looking at those players and thinking, we might be in trouble. I don't think so. I truly don't think so. Like, scrap how Milan have been doing in this Serie A. Just look at this game in isolation. I don't think any Milan fan at the 90th minute was looking at that team, looking at that performance, and looking at Allegri and the way he set them up and the way they played the game and told themselves, we might be in trouble. I don't think so. But with Juve, I think the majority, I actually think the majority are looking at that performance and thinking, we might be in trouble. Like, we might seriously be in trouble. Because struggle to play out of the back, like always. Struggle to progress play in the center of the field, as always. Now, your best player, like in my opinion, Kenan Yildiz is Juventus' best player. Your best player is not really involved in games. Like, he truly isn't. He's not shooting as much as he should. He's not getting touches in the areas that he should be getting. On top of the fact that he genuinely looks knackered. Like, Kenan looks finished. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, so what's the solution? What is the solution? There clearly is no solution. It's either a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2 with Vlahovic and Openda. Like, there's more, I feel like there's more positives that Milan can take out of this video, even if it's 1 or 2, than Juve. Like, the fact that Juve had a Gatti opportunity, which was a ridiculous save by Mike Maignan, and then the Jonathan David one. Like, from the top of my head, Jonathan David, I think he's a great footballer. I'll be honest with you guys. I actually think Jonathan David is a great footballer. I think he has a very promising future in the Serie A. But mamma mia, this dude, I'm not gonna say what I want to say. I'll be real. If I say what I want to say, my channel might get deleted. I'm being honest. I just think Jonathan David, I don't want to say take him out of the team because that would shock his confidence 10 times more than it already is. I think Tudor has to stick by him. Like, I'm being honest with you guys. I think Tudor, regardless of the slip, regardless of his lack of involvement, I think Tudor just has to stick by him. Tudor has to look at him and say to him, listen, regardless of how bad you performed, regardless of the scuffed opportunities, you are my guy. And I'm going to stick by you until you give me 50 reasons to not stick by you. I'll be real. His confidence is shattered. He doesn't even know his name. Ask Jonathan David, what's your name? He'll tell you my name is David, when in reality his name is Jonathan. I think, bro, like, I'll be real. Like, you know when David slipped, I was just like being there, seeing it before. It's like Vlahovic. It's like Vlahovic last season when there was no confidence. He couldn't even do the basics. It's like Santi Gimenez at the start of the season. No confidence, couldn't even do the basics. But this is where I said the same thing about Allegri, and I was like, Allegri, this is now your job to raise his ceiling, to motivate him, to give him that confidence. And I feel like Santi Gimenez was a bit more fortunate, the fact that Nkunku and Leao weren't ready to start. So he continued to play week in, week out, week in, week out. I'm actually very intrigued to see how Allegri goes about things after the international break, now that Nkunku is back, Leao is back. But with Tudor has a Vlahovic, the highest paid player in this area. He has an Openda's 40, 45 million. And he's also got a Jonathan David. Tudor just needs to pick a striker and stick by them through the good, through the bad, until they give you a ridiculous amount of reasons for you to dash them aside. I don't think David has given Tudor a ridiculous amount of reasons to dash him aside. But at the same time, Tudor is desperate for results. Like, you have to bear in mind, I have to put myself in the shoes of the player, and I have to put myself sometimes in the shoes of the manager. And I think Tudor is looking at it and thinking, I need to win games. I need to win games. If you're scuffing your lines and you're slipping in the final third and you're not that involved, I might need to roll the dice on somebody else. I just need somebody to be clinical to put the ball into the back of the net. But I don't think like that's Juve's main problem. I don't think Jonathan David slipping is the main problem. I think it's far more than that. I think they're not as organized. I think their press lacks severe intensity. The best players are now not getting as involved. This whole 4 centre-backs part of your back five, like, Tudor has a lot of work to do, in my opinion, after the international break. Allegri, for me, he can stick to doing what he's currently doing. Like, Milan, they look organised. They look defensively solid. They look very, very, very organised in midfield. Their midfield players are very complementary. If anything, Milan's biggest dilemma, like, after the international break, is to try and figure out who should be Pulisic's partner. Nkunku, Leao, or Santi Gimenez. That's their dilemma. Like, their midfield three picks itself and it works. Their back five, it picks itself and it works. Like, you could even slowly integrate somebody like Devinter. But I look at Juve and I'll be like, I don't think your back five speaks for itself. I don't think your midfield duo speaks for itself. I don't think in attack it speaks for itself. Besides Kenan Yildiz, like, there's still a lot of question marks over every single one of those attackers. On top of the whole system and the lack of organization. Like, brother, I could be here for the next half an hour talking about this. The game ends 0-0. 1 point each, but like I said, let me know who you guys think has actually dropped 2 points and who's actually gained 1 point. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will definitely catch you guys sometime this week.